Hi guys, in this tutorial we'll discuss about the latest update from Google about DFP and AdX-Exchange Inventory Unification. So the main reason why Google is doing this is because they said it's gonna be smooth and there will be enhanced visibility, transparency across all reporting and sales channel, and everything can be managed and controlled within a single user interface. So here's the recommended workflow. First of all, pick a date to kick off the project. And on that day, all new rules and deals should leverage DFP targeting instead of tags. Now, what does that mean? So let's say, for example, I have now determined, okay, today is the start date. I'm going to do the changes. You have to revisit all the rules, okay, from top to bottom here, and all the deals that you have that's targeting DFP, or I mean AdX-Exchange tags. If you have those rules, like for example here in our CAD account, I see doyouremember.com as one example, which is targeting tags as of now. Okay, so here's also I created a test rule targeting tag. What you will need to do is replace that rule, okay, because you cannot delete that yet. Okay, if you want to keep that going, you will have to keep that, create a new rule instead. So let's say this is going to be test 2. And earlier I was targeting the AdX-Exchange tag right here, right? So it looked like this earlier. Okay, so instead of doing this, what Google wants us to do is to replace the targeting with DFP inventory instead. So you can do DFP ad units, DFP placements, or DFP key values, whichever is relevant or applicable for you. So let's say instead of the tag, now I'm going to look for the relevant DFP account here. So again, this DFP account, you will see this is the network ID of the publisher, and you can see that right here. So let's say, okay, for this rule, to replace that, I'm going to target this DFP ad unit. And all other applicable targeting parameters. If you're targeting specific geos, inventory size, key values, operating system, device category, you need to implement the same. So bottom line is we don't use tags anymore in any of the targeting criteria within AdX-Exchange rules and deals section. All right, then scroll down and of course you implement your own floor for the branded and anonymous, and then save it. And oops, before I forget, let me go back. Google is suggesting that we use a prefix DFP in order to identify that this is the new rule. So let's say we can say DFP underscore test.com underscore 2. It's really up to you, and then just save it. All right, so that means anything that starts with a prefix DFP are already the new rules, and we can already have the old rule deleted. Okay, and the new rule should take precedence, okay, over the old rule. So meaning it's found at the top and like this. All right, now if you're not done yet, okay, revamping all the rules, doing this, what Google recommends is that you keep your tag, okay, your AdX-Exchange tag running with a Google Ad slot parameter in it. So we still have the snippet of code within DFP, okay, this is for your AdX-Exchange line item type, and you still keep this. Once you're 100% sure that you have replaced all your rules that's relevant to your publisher, then you can go ahead and create a new run of network AdX-Exchange line item. But before we go to that, let me just go ahead and show you other rules that we have here. So let's say, for example, you have channels. And for example, okay, you edit the channel. And here, obviously, it's targeting tags. There you go. So here you will have to replace it with the DFP placements or DFP ad units or key values, depending on how you would like to do it. So let's say DFP ad unit, I'm going to do, oops, this one. And let's say, okay, I choose all the relevant ad units for this publisher. And here I will specify this will be smartphone and feature phone, because this channel is for mobile. And then I go ahead and save it. So that's how easy it is. All right. And then I go ahead and edit desktop as well. If I have any channels, targeting tags there as well, I will have to replace it and make sure that I target the relevant DFP ad units or placement instead, or key values, whatever is applicable for you. So you check out other rules that you have there. So you also have ad styles, like this one, for example. So it's currently targeting tag. You will also have to replace this rule and do the same, target the DFP ad units. And once you're done, okay, checking 100% of all your rules and including the deals as well. So if you have existing deals here that's targeting tags, let me check on the cat account if we have that. So let me see. Here's one example. Okay. So this one, I remember I created this last time. So here, if you notice, it's targeting tag as well. So I will have to replace this with a DFP ad units instead in the targeting criteria. Okay, so let's revisit the workflow again that's recommended here. So after you created new pricing rules without the ad exchange tags targeting on top of your original rules, you're now allowed to remove your old pricing rules. Then after that, you also check the deal section and remove ADX tags in deals and substitute that to DFP ad units. Now, next step is to create a run of network line item ad exchange line item, okay? And that's targeting all sizes. So how do we do that? We go to DFP, okay? So we have here all the different line items, for example, in our ad exchange order. All right. Now, before we proceed, do not forget that this only applies to all ad exchange type line items. If you have line items wherein you used ad exchange tag as third-party creative or house, then this does not apply to you. Okay, so now if you notice, we have individual line items, for example, targeting specific inventories and all that stuff. What we will need to do here is create a run of network line item. Do not pause them yet, okay? Otherwise, you're going to mess up the current setup and you're not prepared yet, okay, to catch all those impressions. So create a new line item for ad exchange. And here you can say run of network, ADX. If you want to separate mobile and desktop, you can do so, or you can just do like, for example, especially for Flexi setup, wherein you don't want to show 970 by 250 in a mobile ad unit. So of course, you will have to split both devices. So you can create one for mobile and then next one for desktop. So include all the relevant ad sizes for your mobile, for example, like that, 320 by 50 and 320 by 100, for example. And then, of course, allow same advertiser exception, and then choose ad exchange, choose the relevant ad exchange account, and keep it run of network. All right, do not target any specific ad unit. And here you can target specific device category if you are splitting between devices. Go and save, and then you select generate multi-size creative. There you go. And of course, right now, so we are expecting, let's say, for example, I have 5 different ad units on mobile. I just want to make sure that I don't get any unfilled impressions. So I want to make copies of this creative right here. So I'll make 5 of them. All right, there you go. So let's say we have that already all set. We can go back to the order. And look for all those mobile line items that I created with that exchange line item type. Select them. Okay, of course, do not include your house and the new one that you just created. Okay, there you go. And you pause them. There. So I'll do the same for desktop. And right now, if you notice, instead of those individual line items targeting the inventory, I now have the run of network at exchange line item. And there you have it. So earlier, I haven't shown you how to remove the old pricing rules after you created the new pricing rules. Let me just go back to that, just to make sure we cover everything here. All right, so let's say this is the new rule and this is the old rule. You can go ahead and delete it like this. There you go. Okay, now here's another thing you need to remember, query tool. Okay, so in the reporting section, if you have any reporting setup or any query that is still dependent on the tags, you will have to change that as well. So let's say, for example, we create a new query, or if you have tags here as your filter, you will have to replace that as well. All right, you have to choose DFP ad units instead, and all other applicable dimension filters. All right, and same thing for your dimensions. You can go ahead and choose DFP ad units, and you can also break that down by device category if you'd like to, and then of course choose the appropriate metrics, and then save query, run report, schedule delivery to your publishers, and whatever's relevant or applicable for you. And then once that's set up, once you see that everything's looking good, you can go ahead and delete the old query that you have in the query tool list. Now there's another thing. If you want to group the different key values, placements, or DFP ad units, you will have to do channels and group them there, so that in the dimension filters, you will be able to generate report by channels here. And you can say like that and that there. All right. Okay, so with a new reporting strategy, like I mentioned, creating channels, you will be able to group different DFP ad units there, different key values, or even combine both there. And then you can also choose the relevant device categories and what we did earlier when we were doing the channel section. Now, do not forget to check system queries and look for the report or query that says DFP ad requests using ad exchange tags, DL section, and we also have DFP ad request using ad exchange tags, pricing rules. All right, so there are other different, so we have also sites and we have tags and all that stuff. And then you can run now in order to generate that report. And okay, so this one shows default. So basically it's the catch-all rule, and that's fine because obviously when you go to rules here, we don't have any other rules implemented yet aside from the default rule, which is of course targeting all inventory. So that's perfect. But if we go to the cat account and run a query right here, we go to system query and then DFP, let's say, okay, which sites are doing that or which pricing rule is using AdX tag still. You can run that and you can ignore default because this one's targeting everything. But 160, there you go. So we still have a lot to fix right here. So these rules here are targeting AdX tags, so we need to revisit all of them. There you go. All right. So in the deal section, if you're creating a new deal, stop creating or targeting tags and instead target ad units, as mentioned earlier. Then you have to clean it up. If there are overlapping deals, you can pull up the report by buyer, tag, and deal ID. Or you can also check the deal here that's leveraging the tags instead of ad units still. And then, of course, update the deals that you can or let the old deals get less and less traffic. So let's try this. Buyer, which tag, and which deal ID. Filter on request source from DFP. So this is how you set it up. Request source for dimension filter is dynamic allocation with DFP competition. And then for the dimension, by buyer, by tag, and then by deal ID. And then, of course, you will have to uncheck this and run the report. That's how we check if there are overlapping deals. So again, update the deals if you can, or just let the old deals get less and less traffic. Then, of course, there's also a system query that says the DFP ad request using AdX tags, and you can see which deals those are, and you can go ahead and fix their targeting criteria. Instead of using tag, use DFP ad. If you have any questions, please let me know, or check out our training portal for updates. Thank you.